Listening section directions. This test measures your ability to understand conversations and lectures in English. The listening section is divided into two separate timed parts. You will hear each conversation or lecture only one time. After each conversation or lecture, you will answer some questions on it. The questions typically ask about the main idea and supporting details. Some questions ask about a speaker's purpose or attitude. Answer the questions based on what is stated or implied by the speakers. You may take notes while you listen. You may use your notes to help you answer the questions. Notes will not be scored. In some questions, you will see this icon. This means that you will hear, but not see. Part of the question. Some of the questions have special directions. These directions appear in a gray box on the screen. Most questions are worth 1 point. If a question is worth more than 1 point, it will have special directions that indicate how many points you can receive. You must answer each question. After you answer, click on Next, then click on OK to confirm your answer and go on to the next question. After you click on OK, you cannot return to previous questions. In an actual test or during this practice test, a clock at the top of the screen will show you how much time is remaining. The clock will not count down while you are listening. The clock will count down only while you are answering questions. Click on Continue at any time to dismiss these directions.
Listen to a conversation between a student and a receptionist at the registrar's office on the first day of the semester.
Hi, I'm Sarah. This is my first day, and I think I messed up my registration.
Welcome to the university, Sarah. Don't worry, registration can be a bit tricky, especially the first time around. How can I help you today?
I tried to register online, but the system kept rejecting my courses. It said they were full or didn't have enough room. I really wanted to take Introduction to Astrophysics, but it wasn't even listed.
I see. Did you check the prerequisites for the courses you were trying to register for? Sometimes there are specific classes you need to complete beforehand.
Oh, maybe that's it. I did see something about prerequisites, but I wasn't sure what they meant. Is that why I couldn't register for astrophysics?
It very well could be. Let's take a look. Can I see your academic transcript?
Of course. Here it is.
You haven't completed Physics 101 yet. That's a prerequisite for Introduction to Astrophysics.
Oh no, you're right. I completely forgot about that. I guess I can't take it this semester then.
Don't give up just yet, Sarah. There are other great options available. Did you have any other courses in mind?
I'm really interested in astronomy, but I also love writing. I took a creative writing class in high school and loved it.
Wonderful. We have a fantastic Astronomy 102 course open that doesn't require Physics 101. And for your writing passion, how about Introduction to Creative Nonfiction? It explores the intersection of science and storytelling, which sounds perfect for someone like you.
Wow, those sound amazing. Astronomy 102 and Creative Nonfiction? Can I register for them now?
Absolutely. Let's get you all set up. And there you go, Sarah. You're officially registered for Astronomy 102 and Introduction to Creative Nonfiction. Welcome to the semester.
Thank you so much. You really saved the day. I was so worried I wouldn't get the classes I wanted.
That's what we're here for. Remember, don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or need help navigating anything, okay?
Thank you again, I will. This campus already feels less overwhelming.
What is the main issue the student, Sarah, is facing during her conversation with the receptionist? According to the conversation, Why couldn't Sarah register for Introduction to Astrophysics? Listen again to part of the lecture. Then answer the question.
Don't give up just yet, Sarah. There are other great options available. Did you have any other courses in mind?
What does the receptionist mean when he says,
Don't give up just yet, Sarah?
why does the receptionist mention checking prerequisites during the conversation? What can be inferred about Sarah's initial feelings when she approached the receptionist?
Listen to part of a lecture in an environmental science class.
Good morning, class. Today, we're talking about hummingbirds, the little birds that are important for nature. They drink nectar and fly with shiny wings, making our environment beautiful. But, there's a big problem: their homes are disappearing. In places like the Americas, where these birds live, their homes are getting smaller. Trees and meadows are being removed for farming in cities, and this is not good for the hummingbirds. The nice gardens are going away, replaced by hard cities and empty fields. This is bad for the hummingbirds because they need special things like flowers and safe places to live and travel. Now, Sarah, you had a question. What are you worried about regarding the hummingbirds and their homes?
Professor, I'm worried about the flowers. Hummingbirds need different flowers for food, and if those flowers are gone, will the birds be hungry or get sick?
Great question, Sarah. You're correct. Hummingbirds have special beaks and can hover to get nectar from specific flowers. Each flower has special food they need. If those flowers disappear, the birds might not get the right food, and it could be bad for their families and the number of birds. But it's not just about food. Hummingbirds also need safe places to make their homes. When we lose their homes, it's like taking away a safe space for them to raise their babies. Imagine, Sarah, a hummingbird coming back from a long trip and finding its home is gone. It's hard for them, and their babies might not be safe from other animals. And there's another problem. Hummingbirds help plants grow by moving pollen around. If there are fewer hummingbirds, plants might not grow well, and it can affect other animals too. Everything is connected in nature, and when one thing changes, it can cause problems for everything else. But don't be too sad. People are working to help. They're planting more flowers, rebuilding the places hummingbirds live, and creating special paths for them to travel. People like you, Sarah, can also help by telling others about this and doing things to take care of the hummingbirds. Remember, even a small garden or a piece of wildland can be a safe place for these amazing birds. The story of hummingbirds teaches us that we are connected to nature. If we don't take care, we can lose beautiful parts of it. So, let's do our part to help these little birds and keep them flying in our skies for a long time.
What is the main problem discussed in the lecture? According to the professor, what happens to hummingbirds when their homes disappear? Why does the professor use the example of a hummingbird returning to a gone home? What is the professor's attitude towards the future of hummingbirds? Why does the professor mention the impact of fewer hummingbirds on plants? What is the most likely outcome if people continue to destroy hummingbird habitats?
Listen to part of a lecture in a film history class.
Hello everyone. Today we're talking about a special time in the past when movies were made without sound. People watched stories on screens that didn't talk, but they were still very interesting. One person who was really good at this was David Wark Griffith. He was like a boss of making movies back then, using lights, camera angles, and putting scenes together in a certain way. Today we'll look at how he did this. Now let's talk about one cool thing Griffith did. He was really good at showing feelings on people's faces, like when someone is super happy or very sad. He made their faces really big on the screen, and it made us feel like we were right there with them, sharing their feelings. But Griffith didn't stop there. Michael, you had a question. What's another thing Griffith was famous for?
Professor, I was thinking about how he used editing. In one of his movies, Intolerance, he would show different things happening at the same time, like switching between two stories. It made everything exciting and kept people interested.
Exactly, Michael. Griffith was like a movie puzzle master. He knew how to cut and put scenes together fast, making the story move quickly. He used this not just for excitement but also to show different emotions, like love and war happening at the same time. And don't forget the big, amazing scenes. Griffith loved making things look huge and grand. In one movie called Birth of a Nation, he showed big battles with lots of people and breathtaking views. It was like a painting come to life with sunlight and smoke. But, Griffith's movies aren't all perfect. There are some problems, especially with how he showed certain stories and people. We have to think about these issues while we enjoy his work and understand that times have changed. Even with the problems, Griffith left a big mark on movies. The way he showed emotions on faces, the fast editing, and the grand scenes, all these things shaped how movies are made today. Filmmakers like Scorsese and Spielberg still use some of Griffith's tricks in their movies. David Wark: Griffith may be a person with good and not so good parts, but his movies are like a school for filmmakers. So, when you watch an old silent movie, see if you can spot the Griffith style, the big faces, the quick editing, and the epic moments. It's like taking a trip to the start of movies, led by the master himself.
What is the main topic of Professor Davis' lecture? According to Professor Davis, what was D.W. Griffith's proficiency in showcasing emotions? Listen again to part of the lecture. Then answer the question.
Exactly, Michael. Griffith was like a movie puzzle master. He knew how to cut and put scenes together fast, making the story move quickly. He used this not just for excitement but also to show different emotions, like love and war happening at the same time.
What does Professor mean when she says,
Griffith was like a movie puzzle master?
why does the professor mention Birth of a Nation? What is the likely outcome if filmmakers use Griffith's techniques in their movies today? What can be inferred about the overall impact of D.W. Griffith on the history of filmmaking?
Listen to a conversation between a student and a professor.
Hello, Professor Lee. I'm Nate Thompson, from your introduction to literature class. I was hoping to talk to you about the mid-semester project.
Oh, Nate, come in, come in. Please have a seat. So, what can I do for you today?
I'm a bit confused about the project guidelines. I understand we need to analyze a poem, but there are so many options on the syllabus, and I'm not sure which one to choose.
I see. Choosing the right poem for analysis is indeed the first hurdle. What kind of poems do you typically enjoy reading?
I'm actually quite open to different styles. I love the romantics I read in high school, like Keats and Shelley, but I also appreciate contemporary poets like Maya Angelou and Amanda Gorman.
Wonderful. With such a diverse taste, you have many options. Have you considered focusing on a specific theme or topic that resonates with you?
That's a good point. I've been thinking about the concept of nature and its portrayal in poetry. Maybe I could compare and contrast how different poets, say Wordsworth and Audre Lorde, approach the subject.
Excellent. That's a fascinating theme, and comparing two poets from different eras and backgrounds would allow you to explore rich literary perspectives. Would you like some suggestions for specific poems within that theme?
Yes, please. I'd love some guidance on picking poems that complement each other while offering contrasting viewpoints.
Absolutely. For Wordsworth, you could consider Tintern Abbey or I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud, which both showcase his reverence for nature's beauty and transformative power. For Lord, Power or From the House of Yamanja delve into nature as a source of strength and identity, particularly for marginalized communities.
Wow, those sound perfect. I can already see how their approaches might differ. Professor Lee, thank you so much for your help. I feel much more confident about tackling the project now.
Always happy to guide my students, Nate. Remember, the key is to choose poems that speak to you and provide ample material for analysis. Don't hesitate to reach out if you need further assistance during the research or writing process.
Thank you again, Professor Lee. I will definitely take you up on that offer.
What is the main topic of the student and Professor Lee's conversation? According to Nate, what poets does he enjoy reading? What does Professor Lee suggest when she asks Nate about focusing on a specific theme or topic? Why does Professor Lee mention specific poems by Wordsworth and Audre Lorde? What can be inferred about Professor Lee's teaching style and attitude towards students?
Listen to part of a lecture in an art history class. The professor has been discussing the origins of art.
Hi, everyone. Today, we're looking at really, really old art. Imagine going underground and finding drawings on the walls from a super long time ago, like 36,000 years. These drawings are from a place called Chauvet in France. So, what can we learn from these ancient drawings? Maria, you had a question. What's on your mind?
Professor, I'm curious about the animals in the drawings. Some look real, like horses, and others look kind of make-believe with weird features.
Great question, Maria. The drawings show all kinds of animals, like big bison, hairy mammoths, and even bears and lions. And then there are some creatures that are like made-up unicorns with lots of horns. Maybe those were like stories they told with pictures. But it's not just about the animals. Look at how the drawings use the walls of the cave. It's not just random, they follow the bumps and curves of the rocks. The drawings almost become part of the cave itself. And don't forget the handprints. People left their handprints on the walls using a red color. It's like they were saying, I was here. It's a cool way for us to feel connected to the people who lived so long ago. These drawings aren't just about looking pretty, they're like messages. They helped ancient people talk, tell stories, and feel close to nature. It's like a window into their world, showing how they lived and what they thought was important. So, when you see art in a museum, remember Chauvet. Art isn't just about being fancy, it's about sharing our stories, connecting with others, and leaving something special behind. Even in quiet caves, our ancestors spoke to us through the language of art.
What is the main topic of Professor Evans' lecture about Chauvet? According to Maria, what aspect of the animal drawings intrigues her? What is the professor emphasizing when discussing the use of space in the cave drawings? Why does the professor mention the use of red ochre in the handprints? What is the likely outcome of comparing the depictions of herbivores and predators in the cave drawings? What can be inferred about the purpose of the cave drawings based on Professor Evans' statements?